Welcome to Money, Manifestation, and Business, the podcast that shows you how to use your energy, intention, and consciousness to reprogram your money mindset, unleash a new level of possibility, and create a life and business that lights you up. I'm your host, Jamie Berman, and I invite you to join me each week for a dose of inspiration, coaching, and teachings to help you rewrite your money story, create abundance on your terms, and grow your business in a way that's fully aligned for you. This is going to be so much fun. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the podcast. I want to talk about a topic that I've touched on throughout podcast episodes, but I honestly think that it needs its own solo episode because it's something that I really want to dive into. When I learned about this concept, it really gave me a lot of relief and allowed me to surrender my manifestations and release attachment to timelines, and really helped me understand how to use time in my favor for me and in a way that served me versus using timelines against myself. Because in the past, I will say I used to use timelines against myself, right? And especially around money, around business and business goals. A lot of other things in my life I didn't attached to timelines so much, but in that area, I realized I really felt icky around timelines. If I was trying to do something in a 30-day period, like hit this number and a certain, especially the shorter the timeline, the more anxious I would get, the more pressure I would put on myself, and the more I consistently felt like I was failing and failing and failing and failing one month after the other, right? And then even with yearly timelines, I would put a lot of pressure on those as well. So I've really had to, for me, figure out a way to look at time in a way that serves me and works with me versus me working against it and using it to pressure myself and putting a lot of attachment on hitting it in a timeline and making it mean all these things about me if I don't, like I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, I'm not good at business, I suck at making money. That was using it against myself, and it didn't serve me. It didn't help me manifest better. So that's why I love this concept of divine timing. And for me, when I learned about it, it just felt true and resonant in my soul and in my being. And so we're going to talk all about that today. And I want to dive in some different ways that you can use timing for you instead of feeling like you're fighting against your goals and if it just feels icky to have tight timelines or to have timelines in general, we're going to talk. Sound good? Okay. So first I want to dive into what is divine timing? Like how would I define it? So I would say divine timing means that everything in life happens at the right moment. The way that I think about it is that our manifestations come to life when we are truly ready for them, right? And that things happen according to a higher plan, right? It's not always when we desire it. It's not always when we expect it, but it's when it's meant to happen. It's when we are truly an energetic match to it, when we are truly ready for it. And spiritually, it reminds us to trust the process, to be patient, to have faith that things will work out when the time is right, especially when we're like working towards goals or have a money goal or, are building a business. It's so important to trust in divine timing, knowing that it's all unfolding. But just because it might not be the timeline you expected, it doesn't mean it's not working. It doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just might mean you have to be patient with the process, with the becoming process, with the unfolding, with you and who you're becoming as you create this thing. So one of the questions that I've gotten recently is like, Jamie, do you not believe in setting timelines, right? If you believe in divine timing, is it like, would it work if you were coaching me and I wanted to make a certain amount of money in this year, for example? And my thing is like, no, I love timelines. I think they're great if you're using it for you, right? If you can look at it and hold it in a way that's serving you. I use timelines myself, right? I set yearly goals. I oftentimes have monthly goals or I have monthly focuses. And having that context of time can be super useful because for me, it helps me really think about putting my energy and tension, focus into something specific within this timeline. It can be so helpful and create some structure for us that makes all the difference, right? And it's something that's measurable too. You can look at where am I halfway through the year? Where's the data? What does it look like? And do I need to increase X, Y, or Z? Or am I on track to hit this thing? There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, I'm a huge fan of numbers. I'm a huge fan of looking at data. I love having goals, right? And I love having yearly goals. But I think the difference is it's like high intention, high involvement, low attachment. So you have to think of divine timing if you are someone who is maybe continuously setting goals within a timeline and not reaching them, or you didn't reach your goal this year. You have to remember that that doesn't mean anything about you, especially if you've put all of your commitment into it and all of your intention into it, but it didn't manifest yet. That just means there's more opportunity, right? So when things don't manifest in the timeline that we want, it's so important that we don't make that mean something about us, right? And that we don't create a negative story around that, because that is absolutely going to impact what you do moving forward. And if you create a negative story around not reaching something in a certain timeline, it's going to be harder to reach it later, right? So that is why it can be really helpful to surrender the timeline, because sometimes things don't happen when we desire or expect them to for a couple reasons. And I'm going to walk you through some of the reasons that I know of and that I've seen in my own life and my clients' lives. So number one, sometimes things don't happen until we learn the powerful lesson that that thing is here to teach us. So let me step back a minute and walk you through how I actually see desire and manifestation, right? So we each have these unique desires. All of us, came in as souls with different desires, and they're all over the place. Some of us have similar desires. Some of them are totally different. Like you look at a family and not every single family member has the same desire. We didn't come up with the same, right? We don't all have the same wants, the same desires, right? I think about my family and their desires. Each individual is so different from mine, right? We're all unique. We each have our own unique imprint, and we each come in with desires. We want to create certain things. And I think of them as soul desires, something that I feel like I'm meant to do, or I just want to go for. Now, I think those desires are here to evolve us as humans. Because if we have a desire to create something new, to manifest a new reality, it forces us to evolve. If we go for that thing, we have to be willing to grow, evolve, learn, become, let go of an old identity. We have to shed, we have to heal. There's a lot that has to happen to create something new or to manifest one of those desires, right? And that is what helps us evolve and go on this amazing journey as a human. And you think about yourself 10 years ago and how different you were and how much you've learned and how much you've overcome and who you've become in even 10 years, right? And it's like, think about a lifetime. And so much of that evolvement happens because we go for new things. We have different desires that we go after, and that is what pulls us to grow, right? So I really think that those desires that we're going for, and especially the ones that feel impossible or big or so different than like what we grew up thinking we could do, creating the impossible, really manifesting a dream. In order to do that, we have to learn a lot. We have to grow. Again, we have to shed. And it's like there's something within that thing that's pulling us to learn, right? To learn something about ourselves. There's probably many lessons built into becoming the version of you who makes $1 million or grows an impactful business or starts speaking on stages, whatever it is for you, whatever that desire is for you, there are so many lessons within it. Now, if you feel like there's something that you've been manifesting for a long time that's not coming to life, no problem. There may just be many lessons within that thing. So the thing that you want to ask yourself is, what is this trying to teach me? Right? The fact that I don't have it yet, what do I still have to learn? What's the lesson within this? What is it that I'm supposed to learn within this, right? Because it may not be coming because we're not getting the lesson within it yet. And when we finally get the lesson, it's going to come. I've seen this so many times myself. Infused in each of my manifestations are so many lessons. And I will say sometimes there's a core lesson that I need to grasp in order to become the version of me that's an energetic match to that thing. So for example, I'll just throw out a couple of examples in my life. One of the first big impossible manifestations that I created was I lost 50 pounds. And I say that because for so much of my life, I really struggled with my weight. I struggled with my hormones, with insulin, with PCOS, with body image, with shame around it. From 11 years old, I started dieting, trying to lose weight because I suddenly, between like 10 and 11 years old, gained a lot of weight, what felt like overnight. And I just had so many body image issues. So I was always trying to lose weight, thinking like, once I lose weight, then I can love myself. Once I lose weight, then I can go do those things. Once I lose weight, I'm going to feel good in my body and I'm going to be able to buy the clothes that I want. And I was always waiting until I lost weight. So therefore, I was always putting a lot of pressure on the timeline. I wanted to do it fast. I would go on extreme diets and I would even lose some weight, but then I would gain it right back again, right? And this is because there was a core lesson within that experience that I was not getting. And it wasn't until I was about 30 years old that I started to get that lesson. And I realized I had been approaching this manifestation, which I didn't even know it was really a manifestation at that time. Like it was me desiring to be in a smaller, more fit, healthier body where my hormones were balanced out and I felt really good. That was the desire, right? And I wanted to feel good in my clothes, be able to go shopping and just buy whatever clothes were at, a normal store. That was the desire, right? And I'm calling that a manifestation now because that was something I was manifesting. At the time, I didn't have that context, but it's something, that is a desire that I was calling in and always going for, always trying for. Well, I hit this moment and I remember it was after I got married, and that was a really tough year because a lot happened at once. I got married, I started my business, we sold a house, we bought a house, moved in, renovated our new house. I mean, talk about like doing a lot in 6 months. So much happened. And I put on weight because I was emotionally eating. And I remember getting to this point where I was like, I'm just done hating my body. I really was like, I don't think I'm ever going to lose weight. So I'm just going to surrender this. I just need to learn how to love my body. Well, it's like, because this has been going on for 20 years and I'm tired of it. I'm exhausted. In fact, like I had been doing it the same way over and over, not getting a result, right? And it was so disappointing and so defeating that I just decided, and this was the heaviest I had ever been at that point, right? And I just decided that I was going to do the inner work to love my body. And I was going to stop holding myself back. I was going to stop waiting until I lost weight to buy the clothes I actually wanted. I was going to stop hiding from pictures. I was going to put myself on camera. I was going to start my coaching business, even though I was not in the body that I wanted to. And I was like, I'm just going to love and accept myself. And I started following people on Instagram who had a similar body type as me, curve models and things like that, learning to dress the body that I was in. And I just surrendered it. I let go and just decided to love myself. And it was a really true intention and a wholehearted intention. And I really got to that place. And the wild thing was that when I finally loved myself and just accepted myself where I was and wasn't putting these crazy timelines on I have to lose weight in X amount of time till this event, guess what happened? I started having the desire to do it in a different way. So I started thinking, you know what? I want to get healthy. I want to release weight for my health because I don't want to have plantar fasciitis. I want to be able to go for long walks and be like not out of breath. I want to learn how to not emotionally eat. I want to become the person, right? And I wanted to do it from love, not from hate. And I remember this sentence that changed everything. And this is what has to do with divine timing. I remember having this new thought that I had never thought in the past about losing weight. And it was, I'm going to do this, even if it takes me the rest of my life. And I really believed it. So I was following an eating plan, but my weight was releasing very slowly. I'm talking about like a quarter of a pound every 3 weeks. That is slow, right? And in the past, I would have been like, this isn't happening fast enough. I give up. This is not worth it. This time it was, no, I want to eat this way. I want to be this person that's healthy. I'm going to do this even if it takes me the rest of my life. I'm doing this in a way that I'm going to live. And that shifted so much because I just believed in divine timing. There was no longer a rush to it. And guess what happened? I ended up losing 50 pounds within about, I think, a year and a half, right? Or 2 years, because it started happening a little bit faster as I just let go. There just wasn't so much attachment, so much importance to it. And I loved myself as I was. I felt whole already. So there was no need to rush. And of course, things go faster, right? When you're in that place. And the other piece that I wanted to mention within this is that I finally learned the powerful lesson that whole situation was there to teach me. And it was trying to teach me my whole life, but I wasn't grasping it until I turned 30 years old, right? So I went on for 20 years not grasping that lesson, wanting to go for something, trying for something, having a vision for something, failing over and over and over. But I finally learned the lesson, which was that I needed to learn to love myself. I needed to learn to love my body. That was the lesson. And it's like the weight was going to stay there until I learned that lesson. Because the truth is, I had lost, like I said, other times where I'd lost weight and then gained it back. And no matter where I was, I never loved my body. I never felt like it was enough. So that powerful lesson was in there. And I can't tell you how grateful I am for it. And not all of you are going to resonate with that story, but I would encourage you to ask yourself, what's the version for you? What do you think the thing that maybe feels like a challenge right now, that feels like it's not happening in the time that you want it to? What is it trying to teach you? Is there a spiritual lesson within there? What do you think you need to learn? I want you to write that down and really practice learning that lesson. This is the kind of inner work we do inside of the money manifestation movement around money, because so many people do the same thing in the context of money. And I did it too. That was another one of my manifestation lessons, right? Is I thought that I was going to feel safe and secure and comforted and whole once I had a certain amount of money in my account, or once my business was making a certain amount, or other times it was once the income is steady, then I'm going to feel safe. Then I'm going to feel secure. Then I'm going to feel okay. The problem was money can't do that. So even the years that I did make more money or was starting to make money, I still wasn't feeling safe. In fact, I share this story a lot. I made my first 100K and I felt nothing like abundant, right? That was not the emotion. In fact, I felt drained. I was still in scarcity. I'm like, what is going on? I finally made this money. It didn't make me feel the way that I wanted to feel. And that's why the inner work is there. And it's like we have to ask ourselves, what is here for me to learn within this, right? So I would encourage you to ask that question if your manifestation is not coming to life. What am I here to learn? And you don't even have to identify it. It can actually be something you just meditate on. And for sure, as the journey evolves, you will be presented with opportunities to learn that thing over and over. And I would just say, dive in, let yourself learn along the way. Now, the second reason that our manifestations don't always happen right in the timeline that we expected, hoped, or desired is because we are not truly ready for it, right? And this is actually a good thing. This is the universe protecting us. Because if you're not truly ready for it, there is a good chance a couple things might happen. Number one, you may just sabotage it, right? You might get it and then not be able to hold on to it. You may just sabotage it in some way, mess it up in some way. And I've totally done that when I'm not ready for something. Another thing that we might do is just not be able to hold on to it. So in the context of money, what I've seen oftentimes is that people will get the money, but then they instantly give it away or instantly spend it. It's like they're not an energetic match to having money. So how can you prepare for it? How can you create a solid foundation for this thing to unfold? So a good way to think about this in the context of money, since that's what we talk a lot about, is thinking about the version of you who has it, who holds on to it. Think about, let's say you're manifesting, we're just going to throw a number out there. Let's say you're manifesting $1 million business, but put whatever number is relevant for you, right? But I'm just going to use $1 million. Okay, let's say you're manifesting $1 million business. You have to ask yourself, what is the foundation of a person who has $1 million business? If you don't know, start to research it, right? Because a lot of people think they want $1 million, but the truth is, do you have the support for that? Is your business set up foundationally to hold that as a scaling business? And I'm giving you this example because this is a personal one for me. I've had this vision for a while, and I created $500,000 pretty quickly, and I was able to hold that, right? I basically hit an upper limit at the 500K because I had a quantum leap. But since then, I have not grown to $1 million, and it's been a couple years in terms of my actual coaching business. I've created $1 million in other ways because y'all know I open up all the channels for abundance to flow in. So we've been able to create a net worth of that plus, right? But in terms of my business, it wasn't hitting it. It wasn't growing up to $1 million. And there's a reason for it. In my life, in terms of net worth, I was an energetic match to it. I could hold it. I had the space for it. I had the version of me who knows how to hold on to money. I am really caring for my money. I have support around it. I have a financial advisor. I have a husband who, talks to me about it as well. And we plan and come up with ideas and ways to hold the money. So I'm an energetic match to it in that area. But I kept asking, why is my business not growing though? Why is it coming through all these other channels, but not my business, right? There was a good amount coming through my business and I was creating a good impact, but it was staying staying kind of lingering around those, mid six figures. And the reason why is the foundation was not set up. If I had created all the clients for $1 million business, I wouldn't have been able to take amazing care of them because it was me and one VA for many years. And it was a bottleneck. I'm telling you, this was just up until 1 year ago. I was working, it's like I had to do the front end of my business, the back end. We were so full and busy that we weren't even really looking at numbers. We weren't looking at data that much. And there was so much going on the back burner. And that's when I knew this year, I'm like, I need to set the foundation. We don't even have SOPs done. We don't even have, numbers being tracked very consistently, right? We don't have all the data of the business. And that is not my zone of genius. I love looking at the data, but actually implementing it and all of that is not my zone of genius. So I knew I had to set up the foundation for it. And it's like, so that I could be the one just caring for my clients, just coaching my clients, having a clear mind, a clear spirit, also enjoying my life, absolutely no overworking, right? And so that is what I set up this year is I just decided I'm setting up the foundation. I hired a OBM. I hired an operations person. I hired so many more people within my business to really support me. I hired customer support. We have a solid team where everybody has their own part and it's in everyone's zone of genius. It's not me and one other person doing it all. That was just the place where I wasn't an energetic match to $1 million business. It could have came, but it would have went fast because I couldn't have handled it. And I didn't know that, right? My brain thought, let me just think about it. Let me think about becoming the $1 million version of myself. And, it's evolved. And I've been learning as I've been going. And now I can wholeheartedly say my business is 100% ready to scale to $1 million and beyond. Hands down, absolutely no doubt about it. I can see where it's going. I can see the plan. We actually have the numbers now. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the offer that's working so well. This is the offer that I love. This is what we're going to put all of our energy into. This is where we need to put our ad money. It's like now I have the machine behind the business working so that I can really scale it. So think about that for yourself. If you're manifesting something, what is the foundation that you need to set? And I remember I did this even whenever I was manifesting $2,000 a month. That was one of my first, I remember whenever I started my business, that was one of my big goals was let's start making $2,000 a month. And instead of just focusing on the outcome of the $2,000 a month, I remember thinking, who is the version of me who creates $2,000 a month? It's not me who stays in my workout clothes all day, goes to the gym at whatever hours I want, then goes and runs errands, and then puts the business last. It's no, I have certain hours that I work because I'm going to be having clients. So I even put them fake into my calendar and made sure that I was in my office during those times, right? I put fake names within my calendar as if these are where my clients are going to go. I need to set myself up and prepare myself to become the version of myself that gets 2 clients a month and started doing and really becoming that person. And that's how I did it, right? So you really have to get yourself foundationally ready for it because that's what's going to allow you to not only have it, but to appreciate it and to hold it and to do it in a way that's sustainable. And then the last one is when something isn't happening in the timeline that you hope, expected, or desired. And you're like, but I've really learned so much. And I feel like I've learned the lessons here. I feel like I'm an energetic match to it. I have the foundation set for it. And I'm really going all in on this thing. Sometimes the next step is just to surrender. Right? If you've prepared everything you can, you've done everything on your side, if you've done the inner work around it and you've learned lessons around it and you're like, I really can't think of anything more or different that I can do, surrender. I'm telling you, the power of surrender and letting go is everything, because sometimes we are just holding on too tightly and that thing cannot breathe. We have to let go. Literally imagine yourself like as if you're clinging to that thing or clinging to the timeline or feeling needy. Imagine yourself, sometimes visualization helps, like imagine yourself releasing, letting it go, almost just dropping it, freeing your hands from it, shaking yourself out, letting go of the idea that it has to be done in a certain way, that your way is right, that there's anything wrong with you. Let go. Just let it go. This is where you can hand it over to a higher power. You can say, I have done my part. Again, high intention, high involvement, which you've had, low attachment. You got to let go and say, you know what, universe, this or something even better for the highest good of all concerned, right? And lead me, show me the way, guide me. If it's this, let it unfold. If it's not this, lead me there. Open yourself up. That is what I would absolutely encourage, and just trust in divine timing. If you know wholeheartedly that this thing is for you, hold the vision, but let go, right? Hold the vision, know that it's coming, know that it's happening, but let go, and maybe even let it evolve in a way that you didn't expect, because maybe whatever unfolds will be so much better than what you could have envisioned. So what I'm going to leave you with in terms of trusting in divine timing and some practices that you can do are to really practice enjoying the journey, enjoying what you have now, right? Enjoy the miracle of now. Enjoy the dream that you're living in now. What dreams have already manifested, and soak those in now, knowing that more is coming. Right? Remember, these are the good old days. You are going to look back one day and say, those were the good old days. I miss that. I miss that age. I miss that time frame. I miss what was happening there. I have no doubt about it. Now, might it be a challenging time? Might you be going through a lot? 100%. Right? It could be, you could be going through a dark night of the soul right now. But what I would focus on is what is good in my life now? What blessings are here now? And how can I let go? And, many say, let go and let God, or let go and let the universe, let go and surrender this to something greater than you. Right? And so that's what I'll leave you with. I hope this episode was helpful. I know whenever I recorded the episode on letting go of the how, which you can find a couple episodes back, I said, you know what? I think I need to do a full episode on divine timing and what that is. And so I hope you found it helpful. I would love to hear from you and what your thoughts are on this. But again, it's time to think about, for you, how can you use timelines for you instead of against you? And if you're not able to get to the place where you're using it for you, can you just release the timeline and just trust in divine timing and go for that thing? Because time is relative anyways, right? It's a man-made construct, woman-made construct, human-made construct. That's it. It's a human-made construct, and it really doesn't mean that much, right? So anyways, trust in divine timing. Can't wait to hear from you. Have a beautiful week. I'll see you next week. Hey, thanks for listening. I hope this episode is something that you'll be able to add to your manifestation toolbox to come back to when you need a little extra motivation. If you like what you've heard today and want to take it deeper, you've got to come check out my signature coaching program, the Money Manifestation Movement. It's the place where you'll not only learn manifestation, but you'll begin to live it alongside me and an amazing community of like-minded entrepreneurs doing this work together. Head on over to jamieberman.com to learn more.